Follow Radio K-Man on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio K-Man.
Hello and welcome to For the Health of It. In the studio with me is Dr. Joseph Davis, a board-certified reproductive endocrinologist and fraternity specialist, and he's from the K-Man Fertility Center, and we're going to discuss fertility issues and how to solve them right after the break from our sponsors.
Transferring your prescriptions have never been this easy. Simply go to healthcarepharmacy.ky and follow the easy directions from your desktop, mobile device, or tablet. All you need to do is pop into Healthcare Pharmacy in Grand Harbor to collect your prescription. They're open 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Saturday and 10 till 6 on Sundays and public holidays. No waiting in line, no wasting your lunch hour, no stress. Just easy online prescription refills and transfers from the pharmacy that has been caring about your health for 25 years. Call 947-8900 to speak to a pharmacist or go to healthcarepharmacy.ky and make life easy.
Live with pride, live strong, live with love, live with hope, live long, and be the best you can be. Live well, GNC.
The science doesn't lie. The key to achieving your health goals is through the proper knowledge of nutrition.
From moms to babies, kids to seniors, vegan to pro performance and wellness, GNC sets the standards in nutritional science.
Their experienced team of professionals are ready to support you in achieving your goals with 2 convenient locations in Countryside Shopping Village in Savannah and Queens Court on West Bay Road.
And join the GNC community and take advantage of their discount days, the first 7 business days of every month and every Wednesday.
Take control of your health and body today with GNC.
Believe in the power of nutrition.
Live well, GNC.
Did you know that becoming a member of the Cayman Islands Civil Service Association is a quick and easy process, and the benefits are immense? It's as simple as completing the enrollment form, which you can find on the website www.cicsa.ky, and return it to any member of the Management Council or Secretary Ms. Zita Bodden at the Registrar's Office on the first floor of the Government Administration Building. It's only $5 per month, which is automatically deducted from your salary. Yes, it's that easy. Remember, the Cayman Islands Civil Service Association membership is open to all civil servants, statutory authority employees, government company employees, and all retired civil servants. CICSA, promoting and protecting the welfare of our members.
Once upon a time, we ate from the land and sea. We may not have had much growing up, but we had healthy foods. It's time to wake back up to natural eating. EatingClean.com is the island's premier 100% born Caymanian-owned cooked-to-order meal prepping service. Fresh, locally and responsibly sourced ingredients. No processed soy and GMO foods. From breakfast to lunches, meat to vegan, juices and smoothies. Experience tasty meals for as low as $9. Visit EatingClean.com to view their menu or place your order. Deliveries are free, including reusable plates and bags. Monthly and corporate specials are available. Visit eatingclean.com. That's clean with a K. EATINGKLEAN.com. Or call 328-8655. Wake back up to quality foods with eatingclean.com.
We believe that every life matters, and we are all connected. One community, one people.
No matter where you live, Holy Cross Hospital of South Florida is breaking down the borders that should not exist in advanced healthcare.
At Holy Cross Hospital, we have opened our doors to the world, bringing you exceptional healthcare.
The multicultural staff features doctors and nurses providing top-quality, compassionate health care while making patients feel at home.
Our Holy Cross International Services team provides guidance to patients and their families throughout their travel, accommodations, and recovery.
Quality medical care and advanced technology with sincere compassion and understanding. Your trusted health partner for life.
Learn more about Holy Cross Hospital. Email international@holy-cross.com or call 954-351-5906.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
This is For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Hi, and welcome to For the Health of It. In the studio, as I explained, is Dr. Davis. Welcome to For the Health of It.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Great. So tell us a little bit about your clinic. What's the name and what do y'all do?
Sure. So I'm the medical director at Cayman Fertility Clinic, or Fertility Center. We're located out right next to Health City, so kind of on East End, and we're a full-service fertility center. We do everything from counseling about general fertility and discussion about family planning, all the way up through all the advanced treatments, including in vitro fertilization, intrauterine insemination, so pretty much the whole spectrum. And, you know, we're here on island as of the beginning of this year, and we're starting to get the word out to people. And so I think a lot of people are, as they find out where we are and that we're located, have come out to us and are starting to get a very good experience.
Great. So what are some of the services you all offer at your fertility?
Sure. So, you know, we really focus on all things related to fertility and family building. And so really depending on where someone is in their fertility journey, it could be someone who's just planning, you know, in the future wants to have children and maybe wants to freeze their eggs and preserve their fertility, or someone who's been trying for a while. And a lot of couples, after they've been trying for a while, they may see their primary care or their OBGYN. And until we arrived on island, the option for them outside of what they could do with their primary doctors was to leave Cayman and go abroad for more advanced fertility treatments. And we now have that services here. So if someone has been told that they need something more than just what they can provide at their doctor's office, then we're the next step for you. You can give us a call. We can get you in pretty quickly for an appointment. And really what I do is sit down with everyone and talk about what they've been through, what are their ultimate goals, ideal family size, things like that, and tailor the treatment to what it is that they need or what they want.
How common are fertility problems, if you will, with a couple?
A lot more common than people realize. Statistically, 1 in 8 couples will have infertility worldwide, and it's a staggering number when you look at infertility as it relates to other medical conditions. Infertility is actually one of the top most frequent impactful diseases, meaning that it impacts people's lives in so many different ways.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it's definitely an issue that is more people have it than I think people talk about. It's a private issue, a very personal issue, and that means that some people are struggling in silence.
Yeah, I can imagine there's a huge stigma attached to it for whatever reason.
Absolutely.
Is it more common in women and men, or is it equal opportunity?
It's fairly equal. It's fairly equal. What I can say is that when we look at a couple that's been trying for a while, and we start to do exploration of to what the causes are, sort of what are the major barriers to getting pregnant, we know about 40% of the time it's solely due to abnormal male sperm production or male health. The remaining of the situations or the remaining problems tend to be limited to either one aspect of like the uterus and tubes having a problem or a woman having irregular ovulation, and about 15% of the time we don't find an answer. So a lot of people go through these steps of testing their fertility, and at the end of the whole process we say, we don't have a clear answer for what the problem is. The good thing is we have lots of science that tells us even if we can't find a clear answer, there are treatments that have better or worse outcomes, and so I guide people through that whole process of selecting a treatment.
When it's a male-related problem, what are those? You said it was irregular sperm.
Mm-hmm. Right. So with male infertility as a whole, we know that men and women have very different sort of reproductive capabilities, if you will, or aspects of their reproduction. For men, men produce a very large amount of sperm continuously. So even variations in the amount of sperm that are available may or may not be a big hindrance in getting pregnant. But if sperm numbers are particularly low, that can be a challenge. It doesn't mean that low sperm numbers completely inhibit pregnancy, but it does definitely make the odds of pregnancy much lower. And those changes, those low sperm numbers, can be due to physical health problems such as long-term medical conditions. It could be a structural issue like a blockage. Some people have had an intentional blockage. They didn't want to have kids anymore and had surgery to prevent them from having kids. And that clearly is a problem if you decide again in the future you want to change your plans. So it does vary a lot. And hormone issues. For some guys, there's hormone imbalances that will change the production of sperm over time, and that leads to lower sperm numbers. Also, the shape and the function of the sperm are important, and that can directly relate to health and lifestyle. We know things like antioxidant-rich diets and exercise are really important for healthy sperm production. And so, if men are somewhat sedentary or if they eat a lot of processed fast foods and things that are damaging to the body, this can reflect in abnormal sperm numbers or function.
Oh, okay. So diet matters.
Diet completely matters for everyone.
Yeah, great. We are talking to Dr. Joseph Davis from the Cayman Fertility Center. And if you have any questions about fertility, please call us at 1-800-534-8255 or WhatsApp me at 925-3030 and with any questions. So now, we talk about the female when the problem starts with, I guess, with the female. What is each problem, and perhaps you could offer a solution that the service you offer.
Sure. The female system is a lot more complex when it comes to reproduction for lots of reasons, but one of the main reasons is that women carry the pregnancy. So it's not just about eggs like it is with men about sperm. It's also about the ability to carry that pregnancy successfully. So an important part of that is not just getting pregnant but staying pregnant, and miscarriage is a big issue for people who are trying to get pregnant and stay pregnant. A lot of that may be related to the structure and function of the womb or the uterus. Blocked tubes can be a problem in getting pregnant. Fibroids or things inside the uterus can affect staying pregnant.
Right.
And also problems with releasing eggs or ovulation is another problem in getting pregnant. And as we get older, as all of us get older, our health changes. And for women, that means lower egg numbers.
Right. And so if there is, say, a tube blockage, what do you do there?
So with blocked tubes, which is actually one of the most common problems in women that are trying to get pregnant and are struggling, there are a couple of options. Traditionally, in the era before in vitro fertilization, surgically correcting the tube was sort of the only option or adoption. With IVF these days, and because we provide IVF on an island, it's a lot more accessible than it was before we were here. That really is the preferential option because the success rates have gotten so good, and it's less invasive than surgery. Surgery to correct the tubes does involve it's a surgery, and so it involves going inside the body. With in vitro fertilization, it does involve a small procedure to remove eggs to be able to fertilize them in the laboratory, but that's a lot less invasive than having a surgery. And the success rates, the pregnancy rates with IVF, they do vary depending on the age of the person and their overall other conditions, but generally tend to be a bit higher than with the surgery.
Okay. And what is the process of IVF? I mean, is it one and done, or is it a cycle? And explain.
So basically, IVF mirrors the woman's natural menstrual cycle, and when we do in vitro fertilization, it means in the lab fertilization. Fertilization is the sperm and the egg coming together to create an embryo. So in order to get an egg to be ready to be fertilized with sperm, we need to take those eggs out at the point when a woman would typically ovulate, which is sort of midway through her menstrual cycle.
Mm-hmm.
A step before that is we help grow more than one egg simultaneously so that when we do that egg retrieval, we get a larger number of eggs available, which gives us the capacity to have better numbers to select from, better odds of success. We fertilize those eggs in the laboratory and grow the embryos just as they do inside the body naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And we can then identify the healthiest embryos, select one or sometimes more than one to put back into the uterus to allow for pregnancy. Oftentimes, though, people have extra embryos, which can then be safely frozen and stored in the event that the first cycle was unsuccessful. They may not have to go through the whole process again. They can thaw an embryo and transfer it in and give them a second chance at pregnancy or maybe even a second baby in the future if they were successful.
Yeah. Is it, do you implant one embryo and to see if it works there, or do you implant several?
It depends. You know, the idea of putting in one embryo or more than one embryo, what we're really trying to balance is odds of success and safety and health. And if it's a young woman who has great, potential for pregnancy, we would generally select one embryo. If it's someone who we know the per embryo pregnancy rate may be very limited, such as someone in their late 30s or early 40s, then typically we transfer more than one embryo to try to balance that out, knowing that not every embryo is successful. However, we do have the ability to do genetic testing these days. And we can actually test the embryos before we select them, identify the healthiest embryos genetically, and in that case we select a single embryo to transfer because we know the odds of success with that embryo are really, really good, and we can minimize the risk of having twins or something more, a higher risk pregnancy.
And what is the process of IVF?
Sure. Well, as I say, it mirrors the menstrual cycle. So typically it involves when a woman gets her period, she comes into the office. We do an ultrasound to assess how that cycle looks. We then have her begin taking medication to grow the eggs. The medication a woman takes for IVF is the exact same hormone that your brain makes to stimulate eggs to grow naturally.
Right.
We're just doing it in a much larger amount so that we get more than one egg to grow.
Right.
It still takes about 10 to 12 days for those eggs to mature naturally. Same thing with IVF. It takes about a week and a half. We have you back for another ultrasound, maybe two. Once we see that the eggs are ready to be retrieved, you come back in the office. We have a small little procedure room there, give you a little bit of mild sedation, collect those eggs. Takes about 15 minutes. Take your partner's sperm or donor sperm if that's the case, fertilize the eggs, grow them in our laboratory right there in the office over the next 3 to 5 days. Either select embryos to put back into the uterus, which is similar to having a pap smear. It's a very quick procedure, very painless. Or if we do the genetic testing, we sample cells from the embryos. We have to freeze the embryos because the genetic testing takes a few weeks to process. And then you come back at a later date to put that embryo in once the genetic testing is complete. And again, that transfer process is similar to a pap smear.
Okay. Is there, when you talk about treatment for miscarriage, explain a little bit more about that process.
Sure. And miscarriages are such a difficult situation. It's struggling to become pregnant is extremely difficult, and then to get pregnant and lose the pregnancy can be devastating. And there's a lot of science actually that shows that women who have more than one miscarriage, it's the same impact as post-traumatic stress disorder for people in war zones and other situations. So very, very serious condition. And what I usually do when someone comes in that's burdened with miscarriage is to really sort of systematically go through, okay, what are the pieces that we can figure out here? What aspects of this system are maybe leading to this or increasing your odds of this? And what solutions do we have? But the number one most important thing with anyone who's having miscarriage I address is, how are you doing with this? Because emotionally that can be so devastating. And I think it's really important for people to realize that, number one, a lot of people are going through miscarriages. That doesn't make it any easier, but maybe bring in some sort of community into the aspect. But also to know that, this is to recognize how devastating this can be for people. Because a lot of people feel like, oh, if I had this miscarriage, then, I just need to move past it. I just need to keep trying. Everyone's being so positive. They don't allow themselves to really grieve. And I think that's such an important aspect that I want them to know, that this is okay to be bothered by this, to be saddened by this.
Do you, because this whole process, and we discussed earlier, is there may be a shame factor attached to it. Do you offer counseling?
So it is definitely something that there's such an important role for that within fertility and within miscarriage. Right now, we currently don't have a mental health expert working in our clinic. I do what I can to at least open the conversation and discuss it, but I definitely am looking to reach out. I've reached out to some of the mental health community on island, and there is this challenge of mental health, conditions in general being, addressed and people seeking help. It seems to be a bit of a challenge for everyone. So I think it's something that is so important. Our sister practice, Barbados Fertility Center, does have a therapist that works with them, and she's always happy to do phone consults or video conference. So that's an option for people who may not feel comfortable going to someone on island but need that help. And she's amazing because she specializes in reproductive mental health. So it's exactly it. You don't want somebody who just happens to do mental health but has never talked about miscarriage, talked about struggles in infertility.
So is there an age cutoff point when you say, nope?
Well, definitely age is a factor, for both men and for women. And that's an important point to keep in mind. When it comes to getting pregnant with your own eggs or your own sperm, nature does have sort of a set realm of time that's possible. It's a lot more difficult as we get older. With assisted reproduction and specifically using like donor eggs or donor embryos, where really a lot of the natural barriers like having eggs or having sperm available are sort of corrected for, we do still have a limit, and we don't do transfers of embryos above age 50. And a big part of it is really there's a lot of ethics literature worldwide sort of talking about what is the ethical upper limit, but really it comes down to is, at what point in time do the physical strains of pregnancy start to balance out with one's own natural health? And there isn't a perfect age. There are clearly 55-year-olds that are in extremely good health. They could carry pregnancy, and 25-year-olds that probably would have difficulties.
Right.
So we kind of have to pick an age limit, but we go with 50.
With 50. And men? What's their
For men,
cutoff point?
There's not as much of a cutoff point, and this is a bit of a debate in the field, quite honestly, is, especially with second marriages, and sometimes you may have an older man with a younger woman or vice versa, and where do we sort of weigh in the different factors? We know that men's sperm quality does decline with time, and there are some effects of genetic abnormalities seen with babies of men that are older, usually late 50s and above. So that's a condition that's an aspect that I always talk to people about. But with the advent of genetic testing of embryos now, we at least have an approach to that. It may not be the whole answer, but at least it gives us a place to say, okay, if we're worried about some of these potential genetic conditions, let's genetically test the embryos and see what we can sort of help balance this. But there are certain genetic conditions that are impacting men or children of men that are older that we just can't screen for statistically.
When is it time to come see someone, a fertility expert?
The traditional approach has been based off what's considered the definition of infertility, which is age-based. So in a heterosexual couple under the age of 35 that's been trying for more than 12 months, then that's sort of a time to start getting things tested. If you're between 35 and 40 for women, 6 months. If you're over 40, come straight away. Because the impact of age is so important. There is actually a new sort of definition of infertility that I have to say I was part of the team that developed when I was at the World Health Organization, and it contains that original definition of 12 months, 6 months, 0 months, but also extends it to anyone who has a barrier to fertility that is clear. Easy example is a woman who ovulates twice a year doesn't need to wait a year to find out that she has a problem. She should come straight away, and because we can help with that.
That's a ding, 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 ding.
Exactly. Or someone who's had their tubes tied or had a vasectomy who says, look, it doesn't make sense for me to wait a year. I know what the problem is, and so really anyone who is struggling with fertility, those are kind of general guidelines. My personal feeling is reproductive health should be part of our dialogue. It should be part of our everyday health. Mm-hmm. And just as you go to your doctor every year for a blood pressure check, a health checkup, why not have reproductive health be part of that? There's nothing wrong with getting an evaluation and having a discussion to say, hey, look, everything's good now. I'm of this age. Maybe I'll swing back around in a couple of years if we're having trouble. Mm-hmm. That's a much easier conversation than the one of, oh my gosh, I wish I had seen you 2 years ago and things would have been different. So I would encourage people to reach out even if they have questions.
Is there something like medical conditions that right away, I mean, you said about you have your cycle twice a year. Mm-hmm. Is there something, what's the word?
Endometriosis?
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yes.
Definitely.
I mean, is that a barrier to fertility?
Endometriosis is a huge challenge for lots of different aspects of health, but specifically for fertility, and it impacts all different levels. Mm-hmm. So for those who don't know, endometriosis is a condition usually associated with pelvic pain, painful menstrual cycles, mm-hmm. and the concept or the what's going on physiologically is the lining of the uterus that typically comes out with the period in some way is implanted inside the woman's abdomen. So when she gets her period, she has pain, she has mm-hmm. scar tissue that forms, and this can lead to more and more problems down the road. Well, beyond the pain condition, beyond the pain aspect of it, it does impact one's fertility. It may lead to blocked fallopian tubes or damaged eggs. There seems to be some evidence that it impacts the ability of the embryos to implant properly. So there are all kinds of different aspects. And one of the biggest challenges with endometriosis is the average time it takes a woman to get diagnosed with endometriosis is about 9 years.
Oh, wow.
So she may be suffering with this and not realizing that this is abnormal. And many, many years, almost a decade goes down the road. And all of a sudden now she's seeing me to talk about fertility. And again, if we identified this earlier, we could have really treated it. So I would say endometriosis is clearly a medical condition that you should, if you know you have it or if you think you have it, let's talk. Polycystic ovary syndrome is one of irregular ovulation, and that's a big one.
Okay. Quickly, what is your success rate? I mean, you've just been there 2 months.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, we officially did, we do IVF in batches. So we had an April batch and we had a June batch. So we've got two batches under our belt, if you will. Mm-hmm. And success rates are on par with what we would expect. It's always hard to say success rates because it depends on age and it depends on condition.
Right.
But when we look at our pregnancy rate with IVF by age, we know that we're actually above the averages of the U.S. for different age brackets. Mm-hmm. That being said, as you said, we're new on island, so we're still collecting our data, and there are many patients that are lined up to come see us here soon. So we'll have more numbers as we go forward.
Okay, well, thank you. Is there something else you'd like to add real quick before we wrap up?
I just think this is a great opportunity, and I hope anyone listening who is affected by this or knows someone who's affected by it, check out our website at caymanivf.com. It's got lots of information just for your reading, as well as contact for myself and my staff, and see how we can help you.
Great. Thank you so much for being on For the Health of It. We are moving you to the life you want.
Live with pride. Live strong, live with love, live with hope, live long, and be the best you can be. Live well, GNC.
The science doesn't lie. The key to achieving your health goals is through the proper knowledge of nutrition.
From moms to babies, kids to seniors, vegan to pro performance and wellness, GNC sets the standards in nutritional science.
Their experienced team of professionals are ready to support you in achieving your goals with 2 convenient locations in Countryside Shopping Village in Savannah and Queen's Court on West Bay Road.
And join the GNC community and take advantage of their discount days, the first 7 business days of every month and every Wednesday.
Take control of your health and body today with GNC.
Believe in the power of nutrition.
Live well, GNC.
Summer means sunscreen. A lot of it. But this year, you can make the reef-friendly choice in sunscreen. At Healthcare Pharmacy in Governors Square and Grand Harbor, you can find Ocean Potion and Australian Gold Botanical Sunscreen. Ocean Potion is reef-friendly, oxybenzone-free, antioxidant-enriched, and contains no added parabens. Australian Gold is also phthalate-free, hypoallergenic, and was not tested on animals. So make the right choice in sunscreen this summer with Healthcare Pharmacy, Governors Square and Grand Harbor.
The Cayman Islands Civil Service Association, CICSA, is an association that brings all government employees together at the workplace, social events, and in matters of concern common to all civil servants. For more information on how you can become a member or to read our story, visit us on www.cicsa.ky or on facebook.com/cicsa.ky. CICSA, connecting, informing, and engaging our membership.
Once upon a time, we ate from the land and sea. We may not have had much growing up, but we had healthy foods. It's time to wake back up to natural eating. EatingClean.com is the island's premier 100% born Caymanian-owned cooked-to-order meal prepping service. Fresh, locally and responsibly sourced ingredients. No processed soy and GMO foods. From breakfast to lunches, meat to vegan, juices and smoothies. Experience tasty meals for as low as $9. Visit EatingClean.com to view their menu or place your order. Deliveries are free, including reusable plates and bags. Monthly and corporate specials are available. Visit eatingclean.com. That's clean with a K. EATINGKLEAN.com. Or call 328-8655. Wake back up to quality foods with eatingclean.com.
We believe that every life matters, and we are all connected. One community, one people.
No matter where you live, Holy Cross Hospital of South Florida is breaking down the borders that should not exist in advanced healthcare.
At Holy Cross Hospital, we have opened our doors to the world, bringing you exceptional healthcare.
The multicultural staff features doctors and nurses providing top quality, compassionate healthcare while making patients feel at home.
Our Holy Cross International Services team provides guidance to patients and their families throughout their travel, accommodations, and recovery.
Quality medical care and advanced technology with sincere compassion and understanding. Your trusted health partner for life.
Learn more about Holy Cross Hospital. Email international@holy-cross.com or call 954-351-5906.
For the Health of It, Radio Cayman's premier health show was brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy, the Cayman Islands Civil Service Association, Holy Cross Hospital, GNC, and EatingClean.com.
This is For the Health of It with Tara Bush. For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman studio time. It is now 7:34. At this time, Radio Cayman will present proceedings of the Legislative Assembly of the Cayman Islands, and our regularly scheduled programming is preempted up until 10 p.m. and news time. We now have the morning session from earlier today.
Ask the Honorable Premier to say prayers.
Let us pray. Almighty God, from whom all wisdom and power are derived, we beseech Thee so to direct and prosper the deliberations of the Legislative Assembly now assembled, that all things may be ordered upon the best and surest foundations,